Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Mesdames et messieurs, nos salutations. My name is Martin Lord. I'm a Business Development Manager at the Ontario Centres of Excellence and your host today. I am pleased, I should say, I'm proud to be back here on the web 10 months after our first CVAV webcast. The pilot program was a success, funding 15 unique projects, and we are here with exciting news. CVAV is back, sponsored this time by two ministries, the Ministry of Economic Development, Employment and Infrastructure, and the Ministry of Transportation. This is a sign of the increased importance of this sector as an innovative economic growth engine for the future of our province. Following the Ontario government's press release on May 19th, and OC's announcement at the ITS Canada conference on May 25, much work has gone into concretizing the details of the program, certainly learning from the pilot phase and striving to improve processes and reduce barriers. We are here today to tell you that we are open now for business and to tell you how it's going to work. We had 345 people registered for this event, and on the last count, 151 of you are now attending. This is an OC record. So we'll move to my first slide here, which is really to show that we have a packed agenda today. First, we start with presentations by two representatives of the Ontario government who will explain motivation and vision for the program. We also feature executives from two companies who received CVAV funding during the pilot phase to tell us about their achievements. We will provide information on operational details from OC program management. We will end with a short Q&A session. On that, please do send your questions at any time and name who they are addressed to, if anyone in particular. We will attempt to answer them all during the session, and if we can't, we will subsequently provide answers in an attachment on the program webpage. First, as is customary, I will start with a short introduction of OCE. So OCE has been launched by the provincial Ontario government in 1987, and really our aim here is to bridge the gap between the research that's done at academic institutions and to sponsor and spearhead partnerships between Ontario industries and research institutions, including hospitals. So our aim here is really an economic development engine using the transfer of technology and commercialization as the means to do it. We run multiple funding programs, and we also provide early stage seed investments. Just to give you a quick idea of a snapshot of the range of OC programs, we're basically here supporting commercialization collaborations, talent development, and entrepreneurship. And we do that through our collaboration vouchers, some interprovincial partnerships. Youth is of course an important part of the development of talent, high performance computing, and of course startup investments like market readiness. This slide here gives you an account of how we conducted the pilot phase of CVAV, which led to this phase today. So the pilot launched with the Ministry of Transportation sponsorship in 2014. And we created two streams, one at the $50,000 level and one at the $250,000. The applications were then accepted on a rolling basis, and we ended up with a call for the smaller scale projects. This program was really one of the first OC program funding companies, that is SMEs, directly. Through this program then we ended up funding 15 applications. 7 projects were led by academic institutions. 2 projects were at the $250,000 level for a total budget from all sources of $2.4 million. For the first time here, we're able to publish the list of funded projects during the pilot phase. A total of 27 companies are participating, from startup to large firms, even an industry association. 7 academic institutions, including 1 college. Topics range from fleet management solutions, vision solutions, to data management and networking infrastructure. Worth noting, of course, are the 2 $250,000 projects, one supporting the APMA with its Connected Vehicle Technology Showcase and 8 member companies, as well as the adaptive control plug-in hybrid electric vehicle project between Waterloo University and 2 Toyota divisions. This was a very competitive stream. I would like here to give you the highlights of the Phase 2 program. There are a few key differences with the pilot phase. Our program manager, Holly Gardner, will fill you in with details later in this program. So the program budget then for this fiscal year is $1 million. But I'm pleased here to announce that as of this morning, the Ministry of Transportation of Ontario has pledged another $1 million, with half of which will be spent during this fiscal year. So we're really happy about that. The project sizes in this case will also be two streams, one of $50,000 and one of up to $250,000. We expect participants to match 100% the investment of the province. The applicant's eligibility will be industry-led. That is, only industry will be the applicants, and it's open to all, SMEs, startups, large firms. The application process will be separate calls for each stream this time. The project scope is set as technology development and demonstration. And the teams is, as always, collaboration is highly encouraged, but in some cases will be mandatory. This is what I have for you as an introduction. Let's get right into the next topic with Erin D'Alessandro, Senior Sector Advisor, Automotive Unit with MEDEI. Erin?
Thank you, Martin. So for those who I haven't had the opportunity to meet yet, my name is Erin D'Alessandro and I'm a Senior Advisor in the Automotive Unit. So I'm just going to start off by giving you a little overview of what we do at MEDEI, just so you can really understand why we felt it was so important to fund this program and partner with both MTO and OCE. So as a ministry, we want to support a strong, innovative economy, and we do that by supporting jobs and also by trying to secure investment opportunities in the province. And we want to really work or create an environment that will allow businesses to compete globally. So we do this through a few different things. We want to encourage innovation. So we have a lot of great talent in the province. We have a lot of great ideas coming to the province. So anything we can do to encourage that is definitely part of our mandate. We want to help develop the right infrastructure, whether that's for the roads or whether that's just for the businesses themselves. We want to be there to help support that. We also like to facilitate as many partnerships as we can. We find this, especially in the automotive industry, you have a lot of different ideas and a lot of different, regulations and policies in place where in order to meet these areas or standards that you're going to have a lot of companies work together that traditionally haven't worked together. So anything we can do to help with that, on that aspect, we support. We also, as most of you know, support investments. So we have a variety of different support programs within the province. We have the Jobs and Prosperity Fund, the Southwestern Ontario Development Fund, the Eastern Ontario Development Fund, and then programs that we do with OCE to help support different sectors. And then we also see the importance of cluster development. So we have a very strong ICT sector, a very strong automotive sector, and we see these two industries in the recent years work very closely together. So any way that we can help develop that and help excel it is definitely something that we'd like to be a part of. So overall program objectives, we see CVAV technologies available in almost every vehicle now, and these technologies are very disruptive in nature, and they're growing a lot faster than we initially anticipated. So when we thought initially when we started developing this program, what do we really want to accomplish out of it? And when I say we, I mean OCE and MTO as well as MEDEI. So we want to encourage the development of next generation technologies here in Ontario. We know we have the people to do it. We know we have the resources to do it. So we really now next step want to grow that. We want to encourage collaboration and partnerships. And you'll see as we go out throughout this webinar that it's definitely a big part of what we want to accomplish out of programs and projects. We want to encourage demonstration projects with a global reach as well. We see that and especially in the auto sector, a lot of the companies want to see actual tangible products and demonstrations. And then we want to enhance transportation efficiencies in Ontario. And I'm sure everybody knows here, no matter what city you're in, you face gridlock. So anything we can do to help manage that as well to these projects is definitely a positive. So there's different focus areas that we are looking at that we sort of wanted to target, different themes throughout this project. The first one being human factors. So we want to develop or see the development of products and services and standards that will help to reduce driver distraction. There's a lot of information coming to the driver at once, so how can we manage that information in a meaningful way? We want to have or focus on communications management. So we want to look at projects that develop products and services that will address the integration and management of mobile communications. Additionally, another theme is data management. So there's a lot of data that's currently being processed or currently being stored in data centers, and how can we transform that data to make it meaningful? What can we learn from it, and how can we use that to better our transportation, industry structure going forward? We want to see some connected autonomous in-vehicle infrastructure or just technologies, so anything that goes in the car or on the road, so V2V, V2X, V2I, a combination, anything like that. We also want to improve traffic management operations as well to help reduce gridlock, and we want to try to encourage any technologies that have a green component to them. So within that, we have a list of different sort of benefits that we want, ranging from road user safety to data analysis. We just want to be able to take these technologies that create partnerships and collaborations and then showcase them globally. And just to do a quick example before I finish, the APMA is a great example of what came out of an OCE fund. Well, it didn't come out of it, but OCE helped by providing some funding to the APMA. So they had a demonstration vehicle. It had 13 Ontario technologies on it. It partnered with Waterloo. They showcased it around North America. It's been virtually overseas. And we most recently did a connected car mission to California. We brought these companies. We met with large companies in Silicon Valley and really just showcase what Ontario has to offer. And with that being said, I'll pass it on to Mike.
Thanks. Thank you for your insights, Erin. And next is Mike Barnett, Senior Project Engineer, Intelligent Transportation Systems Policy Planning and Programming at MTO, with a presentation on ITS and CVAV evolution in Ontario.
Thanks for that, Martin. I'm glad to be here. I hope to give a little bit of a background in terms of what the ITS program is at the Ministry today, where we're going in the short term, and where we think the industry is going in the future, and why we're motivated to pursue this program, and how we feel that we have a role to play in it. So, why ITS in the first place? So, these are the kinds of incidents that happen on our roads day in, day out. And we feel that ITS has a role to play in helping to predict what's happening on the road, sensing what's happening on the road, and then being able to provide action to alleviate some of these issues and concerns that happen. Some of them are recurring, some of them are major incidents like we see in some of these pictures here. I want to give a little bit of a background on sort of what our footprint is today. These are where we have our traffic operation centers and communication centers across the province. So you see in some of our larger centers, both in the larger centers like Toronto, and then in some of our more rural centers like Thunder Bay and Sudbury. We're continuing to evolve our program. If you looked at the slide just 1 year ago, you would have seen that there was actually 2 centers in the Greater Toronto area, one being in Toronto and one in Burlington. Since then, we've just recently launched, and you'll see on this next slide, a new transportation management center in Toronto. This was done partially to support the Pan Am and Para-Pan Am games that are ongoing in the Toronto area right now. It's a state-of-the-art facility. It's again amalgamated 2 centers into one, and from there we can really work with our regional partners, our agency partners, the media, to really understand what's happening on the roads and to help alleviate issues as they arise. We have a large deployment of cameras, and this is one of the most popular items that we do and continue to upgrade and put out. We've recently undergone a large transformation from an analog system to IP cameras. We continue to get requests to put more and more cameras out, and as we have funds available, we do continue to put out more cameras on the road. Our variable message signs. If you've been in the Toronto area, you've seen an explosion of these for the Pan Am and Para-Pan Am games. But we do continue to put them out in the more rural areas, as you see in the top portions of the screen. And again, these do things like provide safety messaging, they provide incident notifications, notifications of closures, and really help to provide the motorists with information as to what's happening on the roads in real time. Our Q warning systems. These are really generally centered around where we know we have recurring backups and where we go from a very high rate of speed to potentially stop traffic. They're a safety feature that lets people know that there's stop conditions ahead and to be aware of that and to look out for them to prevent things like rear-end collisions. Road weather information systems. This helps us in terms of understanding what's happening on the roads from a weather perspective. It also helps us from our maintenance activities in terms of helping to predict when we should send out maintenance crews for snow plowing and snow clearing and things like that. And there are travel information services, things like our 511 phone service, our website. These are all ways that we can predict and inform the traveling public of what's happening on the roads, construction closures and major incidents and things like this. And then ramp metering systems. This is where we can help to kind of slow down the amount of traffic that's coming onto a highway at one time and to help better manage the flow of traffic in a corridor. So that's a little bit about where we are today. I want to kind of talk a little bit about where we think the industry is going in the next 3 to 5 years. Integrated corridor management. So I've kind of talked a little bit about the infrastructure we have in place, and the idea of integrated corridor management is really about making better usage of the assets that we have and sharing the information that we have with our neighboring jurisdictions. Really working in coordination with cities like City of Toronto, our transit agency partners, and the Pan Am and Para-Pan Am Games have provided us a great opportunity to do that, where we've had a number of these agencies working in collaboration in very close proximity to help manage traffic across a larger corridor. So we're not just looking at ministry roads versus city roads, we're working at it in a corridor to ensure we get traffic moving easily. Active traffic management, again, I've mentioned things like ramp metering. Managed lanes, we've seen a large increase in the number of HOB lanes temporarily for the games, and these are other items that we're looking at in the future as we look to make better usage of our roads. So now we can get into where we're going in the future and where do we start. 5 years ago, the connected vehicle conversation was just sort of starting out within Ontario. And we really started by doing this connected vehicle business viability workshop and talking to some of our industry partners in terms of what they felt our role should be to play. We did launch a university research program with a number of universities, and that really started to get the ball rolling on the OCE program that we have in place today. We've done a lot of things, a lot of presentations with non-traditional ITS conferences and things like this. We're working together in terms of a number of ministries, MEDEI, Metrolinx, Ministry of Environment. We all feel that we have a role to play, and this continues to build and build across government. So why now, and what's our motivation? We really see the benefit of turning our research dollars into products on the street that can further help the ministry. We saw all the infrastructure that I showed in the first few slides. This becomes very expensive to install, it becomes expensive to maintain. The connected vehicle, automated vehicle idea will help us to alleviate some of these costs and get out of doing some of those items and be able to gather information from vehicles without having to put the infrastructure in place. The first round of the projects was excellent. Martin kind of talked about all the projects that were funded. There were lots that we weren't able to fund. So we really see the benefit that we're seeing. We see the new partnerships that are forming and the collaboration that's happening. We talked about our motivation for that. This is really a combination of fields, and we really see it as a collaborative effort. And this is an example where MEDEI and MTO are collaborating, and we see the need for industry to do the same. And then finally, this is one of those items where it's supporting our minister's mandate that to develop a framework for automated vehicles in Ontario. This is one of those actions that we're taking to do that. So we're looking forward to the outcomes of it, and we're looking forward to some positive results and successes. So finally, where do we see this going forward, and why again are we interested? In the future, we see the total reduction of collisions, change our images of the road, what happens to the driver in the future, and it really starts to ask a number of questions as to where we go forward, and how our ministry will have to evolve to kind of develop solutions for these types of questions. So that's all I've got. I hope that answers some of your questions in terms of where we're going and why we're interested, and look forward to the active participation.
Thank you, Mike. We're now shifting gears to feature presentations by two CEOs of SMEs who received pilot phase awards and who will tell us what they have been working on. We first start with Ron DiCalantonio, CEO of Otago. Ron?
Thank you, Martin. I'd like to describe our project, which is called Safe Driver Notifications, supported by OCE and partnering with Vocalage. First, let me describe Otago. Otago provides a conversational assistant platform for the delivery of smart services to every smart device. That's like a Siri-like platform to allow cars and other smart devices to interact in a natural way. We've been doing that since 2000, and one of our focus areas is automotive, and here are some of the companies that currently deploy our technology today. We're partnering with Vocalage, which is a high-tech research and consulting firm which spun off from the Interactive Media Lab at University of Toronto. They work in areas of big data, ergonomics, and again, one of their focus areas is automotive, in particular, user interface in the car. And of course, driver distraction. That's one of the main areas they've been looking at, and looking at, in particular, the cognitive workload that is required in the car. So these two companies have come together to look at a specific problem which I'd like to introduce. The connected car is growing. Gartner says by 2020 we'll have 250 million cars connected on the road. With the connected car comes more information, functionality. Consumers have indicated that they want this functionality, but they've also indicated that they want a safe driving experience. With more information, more functionality, distraction occurs. Now, we all know distraction is dangerous in the car, but I'll quote some facts. CAA has indicated that driver distraction is a factor of 4 million car crashes on the road every year in North America. Now, I don't think I need to say how dangerous distracted driving is. I'm sure everybody already knows when they're looking at somebody texting and driving. Now, hands-free interaction in the car is growing. However, there is also research indicating that audio interaction, hands-free interaction, does reduce the visual distraction, does reduce the physical distraction. However, some researchers such as Vocalage have worked with companies such as Toyota that have determined that there is a cognitive workload. So even though it's hands-free, there is a cognitive workload causing distraction in the car or potential dangerous distraction in the car. So it's this problem that is driving us to create a solution which we call Safe Driver Notifications. And Safe Driver Notifications, simply stated, is a way to provide information in the car with minimal distraction, where the cognitive workload, where our thinking power is, or I would say our thinking level has to be reduced, where we maximize important information like emergency information. But in all that, we've maintained a good user experience. Of course, we could cut everything out in the car, but I don't think anybody wants that. So how can we introduce it into the car in a safe way? That's what this driver notification system is. So I'll give you a quick example. If you're driving on the road, it's raining, it's slippery, and you're about to merge onto the 401 in rush hour, there is an email coming in. When do we provide that email notification? When do we tell you your mother just sent you an email and shall I read it for you? Probably not when you're merging onto the 401. So it's very important that we time that information and also understand the cognitive workload of the user when they're in the car. So that drove this project, and currently we're in the development of a prototype supported by OC. I'll just describe the project a little bit. We are taking use cases in the car, which I think many people can imagine. Then we're assigning cognitive workloads to the different situations, to the different tasks that we're handling in the car. And we're building a prototype system around these things that will reason when to provide those notifications. Once that prototype is ready, we'll be presenting this to users and doing usability testing, determining the reduction of distraction, and most importantly, bringing it to the automotive industry and seeing what their feedback is on the prototype. Some of the challenges, there are many challenges in this project. I'll just list a couple. If you can imagine, what value would you assign to a rainy day? A cognitive value. How much thinking is it taking you when you're on a slippery road? When you get an email? Unfortunately, none of the research out there today has put a value, a cognitive value on any of that. So we're creating that from scratch at this time. There are many other challenges that we're hitting. What are the key environmental and tasks that you need to consider? When is the right time to provide a message, provide a question? And then of course we want the system to be deployable. So we need to get it into the performance level and scalability level that it can be deployed. We're working on those challenges and we've been working at them for the last few months. Give you a quick description. I described Net People Assistant Platform as our platform that provides this natural interface. It is already connected into in-car telematics. That system is being updated such that it will gather all the environmental information, the task information, and pass it to a new system, which is a reasoning system, to calculate the cognitive workload of that driver in the car. That cognitive workload prediction will then go to decide whether NetPeople should provide that information, should delay that information. So that's how the system is working. Now the most interesting part, of course, is the reasoning system. How do you determine cognitive workload? And that's driven by our partner Vocalage. Quickly described, there is an expert system that will take all of the facts that exist, the environmental situation, the task at hand, and the driver, and determine the level of cognitive workload this should be assigned to. Then it adjusts it based on the user profile. For example, maybe a user with poor eyesight, the cognitive workload is higher than maybe a young person that has better eyesight. The cognitive workload is adjusted and then we get a cognitive workload value. From that prediction, the NetPeople system decides when that information is provided to the user. And of course, we're striving to have a safe environment in the car. We're in the midst of the project, deep in development at this point, solving a lot of the challenges we believe. We'll have the initial system ready in September, where we'll do usability testing, tuning of the system, and then have a full prototype system ready in the end of October. So to summarize it all, we're working with the connected car. The connected car is growing. We'll all have a connected car. We believe safety will be a key issue in the connected car. Facebook coming into the car. This will definitely be a key issue to keep that safe. Safe driver notifications, we believe, will be one solution to keep the driving environment safe. We hope to be able to show something at the end of October to everybody, and of course we'll hope that you'll be able to go out to your nearest dealer and pick up a car with safe driver notifications over the next few years. And that's my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ron. We're looking forward to see NetPeople deployed in North America soon. Next is Sherry Shannon Vanstone. She's the CEO and President of TrustPoint Innovations Technologies. Sherry?
Thank you, Martin. I want to give a little bit of information about who TrustPoint is. We were founded in 2012. We're a Waterloo-based company. We're founded by my late husband, Dr. Scott Vanstone, and myself. We previously had founded a company which was a spin-out from the University of Waterloo called Certicom. Certicom was a leading world expert in a new cryptography or a security system called elliptic curve cryptography, or ECC. What was interesting about ECC was that it was the highest level of security for the most constrained environments. So in the 1990s and early 2000s, when the smartphone was being designed, it was a perfect platform and the perfect level of security. We then provided all the security for BlackBerry, which is known for their level of security in their smartphones. We didn't just provide it to them, we provided it to Apple and Android, and to other non-mobile applications, such as every HD TV, every Blu-ray player, every Blu-ray disc has this technology in it. In 2009, BlackBerry acquired Certicom, and we know the story about BlackBerry and the challenges that it has been facing since then. So in 2012, we decided we wanted to take our team and to concentrate more on a broader use of this technology. And of course, the Internet of Things is a perfect and ideal environment for this technology, in particular as computation gets out into the sensors and the nodes of the Internet of Things. In 2013, we were invited to participate in an initiative that the U.S. Department of Transportation is still ongoing with the U.S. DOT's National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. And it turns out that they had selected our technology to be the security for the new crash avoidance system that the U.S. DOT was getting ready to mandate. So this initiative is being led by the Crash Avoidance Metric Partnership, or CAMP. They are an organization, a consortium of 8 automobile manufacturers, plus NHTSA, the US DOT. And they have been working on this for many, many years. So they called us in 2013 and asked us, you are the experts in this area. Will you help us? Will you look at the security? Will you help us with the specification and protocol development? And we are now in the proof of concept phase of this initiative, and TrustPoint is the technical security expert for this. So what are we trying to do here? The US DOT is looking and planning to mandate by the end of this year a vehicle-to-vehicle crash avoidance system. It will name a year that all vehicles manufactured in North America will have to have this technology. We believe it'll be the year 2020. That is, we will see later this year. What happens is that these vehicles will automatically communicate with each other, and the whole objective is to avoid collisions. It is estimated that they will reduce collisions by 80% approximately when it's fully deployed. And as we know, and Ron mentioned, there are a lot of deaths caused by these accidents, and the whole purpose of this initiative is to avoid the economic and the physical, the fatalities. So let me tell you a little bit about what happens. The automobiles are producing something called a basic safety message. This message will be broadcast out, 10 messages per second. The messages contains information about how fast the car is going, the direction it's going, the GPS coordinates, and other information obtained by the sensors on the automobiles. This is broadcast out. The other automobiles in the area will receive it, and they will act on it, hopefully to avoid a pending collision. What is on the car? Let me talk a little bit about that. On the automobile, there is an onboard equipment, and it has 2 radios with an antenna. It has memory, has a GPS, location monitor, and other sensors on board. It has this crypto engine. I mentioned the ECC that's in it. That's the part that we provide. So in this, the cars are broadcasting out these 10 messages per second. The other cars in the area, 300-meter range, are receiving these messages. There's a physics engine on board, too, in this onboard equipment, and it calculates whether there's a pending collision based on this information that it receives. This is it's a Wi-Fi, a dedicated short-range communication at 5.9 gigahertz. So all this is being done. So why do we need security? Well, as you know, with the recent hacks in automobiles, that people find this very interesting, and they want to go after any type of new system or even existing system today. So what we do is that we confirm to the automobile that the messages came from a legitimate authorized user of the system, and also that none of the messages have been altered in any way. So This project that OCE had sponsored with TrustPoint was to build the software development kit that's on the OBE, and it's the core cryptographic processes necessary for the V to X protocol, which is optimized for the small form factor embedded in the onboard component. So I won't go into this very much detail, but this is the crypto engines that needed to be developed. They were developed specifically for the V2V project, and there's a lot of optimization in the software. The design challenges, of course, getting the security, but the simplicity. The SCMS, which I didn't talk about, that's the infrastructure. It's still being designed, so we have to adjust to new specifications coming our way. And of course, it's the technical challenge was on the constraints of the OBE devices themselves. We did a demo for you today, and what we did was we took an Arduino, which is a fingertip-sized Microsoft package containing low power processing in a Bluetooth low energy, and we put our software on this platform, and it's running the lowest tier ARM platform as a processor, and what we're doing is we're demonstrating the full cryptographic capability. So we have these very, very small chips that are able to do the full cryptographic capability that will be required on these basic safety messages, both the producing of them and also the verifying of this. It's a small size. Of course, it has to fit on an Arduino, but our full security library is about 500 kbytes. Now we'll show you a video of this, of the Arduinos and two automobiles speaking with each other.
The following video demonstration highlights TrustPoint's M-Secure OBE SDK being used for crash avoidance. According to the 2015 U.S. National Highway Traffic Safety Administration revised report, each year there are 24 million reported vehicle crashes, resulting in 33,000 fatalities and 3.9 million injuries. Collisions add up to an estimated $836 billion in economic loss. With the use of secure connected car technology, the NHTSA estimates an 80% reduction in collisions can be achieved. Vehicles will automatically communicate with each other. In this scenario, we find two vehicles approaching the intersection at the same time. The car and the truck are talking to each other, both sending signals indicating their presence. Red lights warn the drivers of an imminent crash, providing them an opportunity to take evasive action to avoid the collision. If a vehicle tries to merge into a lane and comes too close to the other vehicle, the secure alert system will activate and notify the drivers to prevent a crash. Lives will be saved, injuries and economic loss will be avoided. When there is no threat of a crash, the green lights indicate that all is safe. But what if the signal is not an authentic communication from a secure system? Perhaps a hacker has tried to modify a message or introduce a non-authenticated message. The car is sending a bad message and the truck receives it but cannot authenticate it. For this example, we demonstrate the onboard system detecting the false message by using the blue light as an indicator. The truck will ignore the message and later report the misbehavior to the infrastructure. The crash avoidance demonstrations you just watched utilize the latest advances in secure vehicle communication, running the full ECDSA signing and verification protocols over the P256 curve. This is what is being proposed to the U.S. Department of Transportation for secure vehicle-to-vehicle communications. While today's demonstrations were run on the lowest tier ARM computing platform available, TrustPoint's M-Secure technology can easily scale to larger ARM processors found in most cars today, as well as the faster Wi-Fi direct networking being proposed for V2V communication. At less than 22 kilobits for basic sign and verify functionality, TrustPoint's M-Secure library can easily integrate into existing onboard equipment while providing the full suite of elliptic curve security functions. This will enable a faster go-to-market deployment. TrustPoint's M-Secure was developed by our experts in secure mobile communications. Their expertise has produced innovative technology with the potential to save thousands of lives and easily be incorporated into today's technology as well as the systems of the future.
Here is Holly Gardner, CVAV Program Manager at OCE, with everything you ever wanted to know about CVAV Phase 2. Holly.
Thank you, Martin. I'm going to just provide a brief overview of the program delivery. There's expansive information available on the website, which went live this morning, so feel free to have a look at that while we're going through this exciting stuff. So as you know, this phase of the program is divided into two streams. So we have a $50,000 stream for Stream 1. With this stream, we're kind of looking towards moving past research to prove feasibility or technology research towards a focus more on technology development, validation, and demonstration. So we have a couple of different partnership structures that are applicable under this stream. So first we have a single company-led application, and then we can have two companies in partnership together. These kinds of applications will require a 100% cash match. Another structure will be led by a company with an academic institution, and under this stream we can have a 50% in-kind and 50% cash match. I should emphasize that all of the lead applicants for this stream will be companies, okay? So in order to initiate an application with OCE for this program, you will have to make contact with our application support team at the email address provided. You'll need to provide some information, some basic information about yourself, your company, some basic contact information, your email and phone number, and they will initiate an application for you. The application for this stream is fairly straightforward. It involves just a simple application with your budget and your milestone requirements. Once we've received all the applications, they will be reviewed by our College of Reviewers, and a final decision will be made by MTO, MEDEI, and OCE's internal review panel. The agreements must be executed for this program within 30 days of notification. So the flow of funds for this program include, and this is consistent throughout the whole program, that the funds will flow through the lead applicant. At the time of the completion of the agreement, we will provide the amount of the grant to the lead company with a 10% holdback. Once the project is complete, we've received the final report and attestation from the partners, if any, we will provide the 10% holdback, the $10,000 holdback. Okay, so the timeline for the applications for this stream will be open today, and we'll be expecting your applications to be submitted by October 14th of this year. We will be sending out notifications for successful applicants in December of this year for you to initiate your projects in the new year. So for Stream 2 of this program, we'll be providing up to $250,000 per project. Projects undertaken under this stream are meant to undertake the development of prototypes, technology development, and those who apply for the maximum amount of $250,000 will be expected to carry out a demonstration project. The partnership structure under this stream requires collaboration between two or more companies, or a company and an association. Lost my word. We invite additional collaborations on these projects from municipalities and academic institutions, but there first must be a partnership between companies or companies and an association. Under this stream, there is a 100% cash match for all projects. So the application process for this stream is in two stages. The first stage will be an expression of interest requirement. So We will be expecting those to be submitted where they will be evaluated. The most highly ranked EOIs will be invited for a full application. Our external review panel, which is made up of MEDI, MTO, external and impartial members from academia and industry, will, with the appropriate knowledge and expertise, will evaluate these applications. The final decision will be then endorsed by MTO and MEDI. And once again, the agreements must be executed within 30 days of notification of the awards. Once again, all the funding for this program will flow through the lead applicant. I jumped ahead of myself. No, I didn't. Once the application has been executed, we will be providing a 30% tranche payment to the lead applicant, and then there will be two additional tranches of payments of 30% following financial and project updates. The final 10% will then be provided to the company once they've completed the final reports and attestations, and the project, of course. All right, so the timeline for this one, again, we'll open up today for EOIs to be submitted for September 28th of this year, and we'll be providing notification of inviting full applications on October of this year. We will be expecting those applications to be submitted by January 4th of 2016, and we'll be informing applicants in February of 2016 of their successful applications. So as I mentioned, there's expansive information available on the CVAV website on the OCE, under the OCE website. In addition, we have Martin Lord, who's our business development manager, who will be happy to help out with shaping up these projects. And myself, if you have any further questions beyond that with regard to eligibility and contracting, I'll be happy to help you. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Holly. I hope that gives you really a glimpse of what this is about. As Holly mentioned, our website is up with all the information you ever needed to know. But hey, we're available to help you at any point. We're now open for questions, and keep them coming. I see already a few of them, and I will attempt to start with the answers. First, many of you have asked, will the presentation be available? Yes, the slides, all our slides will be available on the OCE website under the CVAV program. It will be an attachment there. And the full webinar will be available as a recording on OCE's YouTube channel within about a week from now. We have a question here. So CVAV Stream 2 requires a collaboration between two companies. The answer is yes, a minimum of 2 companies. The more companies, the larger amounts you're looking for, then we're expecting more than 2 for your applications to be more competitive. We have a question here for Sherry. Sherry, how far away are we from using TrustPoint technology to automatically apply the brakes, which is clearly faster than relying on the driver to apply the brakes?
With basic safety messages, the driver will be notified. So let's say there's a pending collision, the driver will be notified by means that are determined by the OEM. The OEM may say, I'm going to apply the brakes automatically, or they may just do an audible or visual warning to the driver. So the answer is, it depends on the OEM.
All right, thank you. I have a question here for Mike. Mike, will there be, let me see, I'm trying to find the question here exactly. Will there be an API available to access real-time traffic data?
So we do have on our Ontario government, we have an open data portal. We do have a number of data sets currently available that provide things like our real-time traffic information and things like that that's available for download and accessing. So I would invite you to check that out as a first step. If there's other things that you're looking for, I would suggest that you maybe want to get in touch with me, and we can see what exactly it is you're looking for if it's not available on the open data government portal today.
All right, thank you. Another question, can large non-Canadian corporations with engineering teams in Canada, such as Toyota, for instance, apply? Holly, maybe you'd like to answer that?
Yes, they can apply if they have Ontario-based operations.
Right, thank you. It was a simple one. I'll
Yeah.
try to get to catch to get you a little more complicated one in a moment here. No, sorry.
It's a good one.
Okay, so I'm just looking at my screen here. Okay, where can we find information on what is needed from faculty researchers from different higher education institutions? Now, if I understand well this question, basically here this program is defined to be industry-led. That is, we're expecting industry companies to be applying. They can be partnering with associations, municipalities, not-for-profits, academic institutions, but the onus is on the academic institutions to partner and find the right companies to work with. Question here of more technical nature, perhaps. Charging infrastructure is one of the key factors that accelerates PEV adaptation. So what is the Ontario plan for implementing public charging level 2 in DC chargers? Is that a question you can take, Mike? Or?
It's really sort of outside of our division's work in terms of electric vehicle. I know our policy and planning group have done a lot of work in EV charging stations. But it's really for them to kind of talk to. At this time, I don't really have any further information on it.
Erin, anything?
Nothing that I can speak of. It's definitely not an MTO-led initiative, so anything would have to be directed to the right people at MTO.
All right. For Sherry, CAMP has maintained that there is a need for a security certificates management system. How will TrustPoint play into this, if at all?
Yes, I didn't talk about the infrastructure. I talked today about the onboard equipment, but there is an infrastructure which is a public key based, certificate based. These are the credentials that each automobile will have. They have, in fact, they're loaded with 3,000 at the time of production. These credentials are short-lived, anonymous credentials, so that there's trying to prevent remote electronic eavesdropping or tracking of these automobiles. So this infrastructure is something that we specifically specialize in. We provide these credentials, and we are working with CAMP at this time to not only advise them as they're doing their proof of concept, but we are also developing the components to allow the OEMs and other entities to operate their own PKI, or we can manage it for the OEM.
All right, thank you. We're doing well on time. Question for Ron. You said that the car will be able to assess the environmental conditions, the task at hand, and the driver when determining the appropriate time to notify the driver of various messages. Can you expand on how the vehicle will assess the driver? Will the vehicle be able to assess the expertise of the driver by, for example, recording the history of the driver's performance in critical situations, i.e. braking reaction speed, steering control, etc.?
Yes, I think that's a good question. I think it almost answered itself, but yes, there's user profile will be maintained in the car. Already, many cars out there are maintaining that data. You're just not seeing it. And that data is actually being brought up to the cloud in many cases. So OEMs, car companies are seeing that data, and they're trying to figure out what to do with it. One of the things they can do with it, and one of the things that, of course, would be protected in the car would be how you drive, your personal profile, your age, your gender, your ability to drive from past history. All of those things would be used by an expert system to determine your cognitive workload, and therefore how the car would interact with you in such a way that it is best for you. Now, of course, security, as Sherry has indicated, is extremely important in here. So all of that data is planned to be protected, but all of those rules are going to be defined over the next few years.
All right, thank you. Another question coming. Any restrictions on collaborative companies to be based in Ontario, Canada, or US? Same questions for restrictions on universities. There are no restrictions for that. However, our funds can only flow to basically Ontario-based operations. The more external partners you can bring to the table, I think the more value it can bring to your project. We're looking for, of course, to create global opportunities for our companies, and it's all assessed on a meritory and competitive basis, so bring them in. Ron, how will the system be able to assess the experience and skill level of a driver? I guess you've almost just answered that, but sorry. All right. The financial match, actually a question here about what is the total funding and duration of the program? Holly?
Okay, so the Stream 1 applications will be 1 year, 12 months, and the $250,000 projects will be 18 months.
Right. And we said the total program value is in fact 1.5 million in this fiscal year. Is there a list of industry partners that academic institutions could connect with based on market segments, i.e. data companies, hardware companies, etc.? Well, that's something I wanted to come to in a moment. We don't have a formal list that's available on a website, but I'm trying to collect and maintain a list of companies active in the sector. So if you have a particular interest, then you please contact me and we can see what we can do. Can one company apply to both CVAV streams?
Good question. Good question. I will have to look into that. That's a very good question. I will respond to that on the Q&A.
Yeah. In theory, you should be able to apply to both, but it's a competitive program, so it's based on merit and availability of funds, but I guess we'll need to...
But if it's a completely separate project led by the same partners or... Yeah,
okay.
I think we'd have to have a discussion.
We'll be getting back to you on this. Another question, will all funding support flow to the lead company from CVAV Phase 2? If an associate or an association or academic institution is a partner, can OCE flow funds directly to these partners?
No, we will be flowing only funds directly to the lead applicants.
Okay, comment. We would definitely like to showcase. Okay, very well. Here. Okay, I'm trying to find questions that we can meaningfully answer here. And how much time do we have left? 2 minutes. All right. Let's see, sorry, here. Okay, question for Holly. Stream 1 requires the lead organization be a for-profit company. Is there a similar requirement for Stream 2?
Well, yes, they would have to be a for-profit company as the lead company, though they can be partnered with an association, which is not necessarily a for-profit partner.
There was a question regarding, just to clarify, please define the 100% matching. In other words, does the cash match mean actual cash, or can that be salaries, for example, of employees?
Well, there is some availability for coverage of salaries for employees. I would suggest that they must be working directly on elements of the project itself, and I would also direct you to look at the eligibility and non-eligible expenses that are included on the website as well for a comprehensive understanding of those requirements.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I think that's all for now, folks. I would like to thank your speakers today for participating to this webcast. Thank you all for joining us today. We hope you found it informative. We believe partnerships are key to the growth of this industry, and partnerships are an important ingredient of the CVAV program. OCE is in a unique position to assist you make connections wherever possible. I am maintaining a list of all companies, groups, associations, researchers active in or considering CVAV business, so make yourselves known to me. We were 195 people joining the webcast today, so thank you to all. For further details, check our website or contact us directly. We're all here to help make CVAV Phase 2 a resounding success. Goodbye, à la prochaine.